Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The topic of this video is Bird of Peace and Plenty, the pigeon in Islamic culture. The Quran says, meaning, do they not see the birds above them spreading and folding their wings? Nothing holds them up save the Beneficent. Surely he is Seer of all things. End of Quranic quote. 1,000 white wings flutter around a family feeding the pigeons of the Mazar-i-Sharif in northern Afghanistan. They are visiting the tomb of Ali ibn Abi Talib, 601 to 661, cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The care for pigeons and mosques and shrines across the Muslim world is inspired by the pious act of feeding the Kabutarani-Haram, sacred pigeons, which frequent the Masjid-i-Haram in Mecca, the great mosque. It embodies the ban against disturbing any living beings in this sanctum sanctorum of Islam. And we made the house in Mecca a resort for mankind and a sanctuary, says the Quran. The pilgrims themselves in their white ihram robes are frequently compared to these sacred pigeons, a sentiment movingly evoked in a verse by the 12th century Persian poet Khagani. Heaven is his pigeon house, and the Kaaba is his court. When heaven became his pigeon house, like a pigeon, the Kaaba became his court. The many varieties of pigeon associated with man are all descendants of a single wild species of rock dove, Columba livia, native to the Near and Middle East. It appears that from the time mankind began cultivating wheat and other grains, wild doves became accustomed to feeding on food provided by man's plantings and harvests. By nature, these birds become attached to one locality and would have found safe places to nest in early human settlements. Humans likewise would have found that the birds were a convenient source of meat and that their droppings made valuable fertilizer for their gardens. In this symbiotic interplay between man and birds, the process of domestication took place. Apart from their practical uses, pigeons came to symbolize many human traits, which Islam was to exhort as positive and desirable. These birds are gentle, harmless, and peaceful creatures. They are perceived as symbols of love through their loyalty to one another. They mate for life and raise their young together. Their song is soft. They are neat and selective in their feeding. They have a quiet determination. To attempt to banish a pigeon is useless. The pigeon has thus long been a universal symbol of peace, an icon of mankind's instinct and capacity for harmony and hope in the face of competing forces of conflict and despair. In traditional Islamic culture, the bird is also viewed as a courier of good tidings and as a guide, following Noah's experience during the flood, when a pigeon which he sent to ascertain if land was once again inhabitable returned with an olive branch in his beak and muddy feet, indicating that the water had receded. In Islam, care for pigeons is also a manifestation of mankind's duty towards all living beings. As the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, there is none among the Muslims who plants a tree or sows seed and then a bird or person or animal eats from it, but is regarded as the charitable gift from him. The people of medieval Egypt led the way in harnessing the many potentialities of the pigeon as a messenger, as a source of food, and as an aid in agriculture, creating a unique, symbiotic, and sustainable ecosystem which served both man and bird. Pigeons have a strong homing instinct, an excellent navigational ability, and are able to fly long distances. Exploiting these traits, a postal service using pigeons was established during the Abbasid period and was developed to even greater efficiency by their Mamluk successors in Egypt. A message could be sent by pigeon from Cairo to Damascus, 620 kilometers away, in a day, from Baghdad to Kufa, 150 kilometers, in a few hours, and in half a day from Alexandria to Cairo, 175 kilometers. In Egypt, since ancient times, man has built special towers and lofts for them to live in. These provide the birds with clean nesting niches, safety from predators, and a well-ventilated environment. Their designs enable the efficient collection of droppings. The birds are free to roam where they will and need not be caged or caught. They reproduce rapidly and their chicks quickly mature. The plump young squabs are collected for eating before they leave the nest. Medieval Cairo was a very large city, and pigeons provided an inexpensive source of protein for its population, as they did for rural communities as well. To this day, the pigeon, frequently grilled or roasted and stuffed with fragrant rice, remains one of Egypt's most popular foods. National demand continues to be massive, and in certain places pigeon towers are built in large complexes which produce pigeon meat on an industrial scale. After Egypt, Persia was the most prominent region of pigeon rearing in the Muslim world. Towers were built for them across the country, but were particularly numerous around Isfahan, the Safavid capital of the 16th and 17th centuries. Given that the rearing of pigeons for food elsewhere, it is noteworthy that Persians generally did not eat them. They were reared not for food, but for their droppings, which were used as fertilizer in the tanning of leather and in the production of potassium nitrate, which was used as an ingredient in gunpowder and in curing meat as well. It is said that this rejection of the pigeon as a source of food was out of respect for the bird's role in assisting Noah after the flood, and part of a broader and long-standing perception of sacredness surrounding this particular bird, as reflected in the writings of many Muslim scholars and poets. Free, but semi-domesticated and living close to human dwellings, it is often felt to be an appropriate symbol for the soul in its journey upwards towards God, and as a guide on the path towards Him. The earliest pigeon towers to have survived in Persia are two in Isfahan's former imperial gardens, which are thought to have been built in the reign of Shah Abbas, 1587 to 1629. Persian dovecotes were quite varied in form and structure. Some were very large and could house as many as 14,000 birds. As in Egypt, they are built almost entirely of mud brick and plaster, and their intricate vaults and domes are eloquent witness to the technical mastery of their builders. Notwithstanding the bounties which pigeons have provided for mankind, Islam's attitude to them has been ambivalent. The raising of pigeons for sending messages, or for food, or other utilitarian purposes, or for quiet enjoyment without disturbing others is permissible. However, to do otherwise is considered to be a waste of the time and intelligence given us by Allah to engage in useful occupations. Already in the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, there was a widespread and unhealthy obsession with pigeons for show and competition. Particularly offensive to Islam were pigeon competitions in which each participating owner sent out an experienced female lead bird with a flock of males to lure those of the rival's flock to return with the temptress. Such competitions were the subject of extensive gambling. The flying of pigeons from rooftops of houses also intruded on the private domestic lives of neighbours. These haram activities seem to have been the source of the hadith in which the Prophet, peace be upon him, said of man, he saw chasing a pigeon, a devil chasing a she-devil. Despite this condemnation, such practices have continued unabated throughout the centuries in many places in the Islamic world. Today, Modern Egypt is the only country where large numbers of pigeons continue to be farmed. The other traditional products derived from these birds have long been rendered obsolete. Most of the old pigeon houses and cotes no longer exist. However, there are places, such as the Isfahan region in Iran or central Turkey, where some of these beautiful structures survive in the face of neglect and decay. Many are spectacular examples of vernacular architecture and require urgent conservation as monuments of mankind's heritage. Unless positive action is taken to maintain them, they will simply disintegrate and become part of the soil beneath them. With appropriate support, however, they will continue to be historical testimony to the ability of people across the Islamic world to devise intelligent solutions to the needs of human existence, which sustainably and harmoniously use nature's resources. Through the story of Noah, the pigeon in the form of a white dove is the uniting international symbol of peace. The bird also evokes the flight upwards of the soul towards the spiritual shelter and nourishment provided by the Almighty, as succinctly expressed in the verses of Khargani, "The holy pigeon house is my destination," and of an anonymous 16th century Indian Sufi poet, "Oh, that I could be a bird and fly, I would rush to the beloved,